Okay, so we will now start with the second part of our chapter. We'll start from the uniform circular motion. And in last video, the last point was covered Newton's law of gravitation. In this, we discussed this formula. Okay, continuing to that, as seen in the formula, why did the Newton assume that inverse of square of distance in his law? So basically, he was held by the Kepler's third law here. And as we know that the concept of centripetal force, m is the mass of the object, v is the speed, r is the radius. So we can show the centripetal force as F is equal to mv square by r. Now we will consider the time period of revolution as t, and the distance traveled by planet is in a circular manner, so we will take its perimeter 2 pi r. So as we know, speed is equal to distance upon time, and distance traveled is 2 pi r, and time is t. Now, as we know the centripetal force formula, F is equal to mv square by r, we will substitute the formula for speed. It will become m in bracket 2 pi r by t whole square upon r. Opening this bracket, we will come to the formula 4 pi square mr upon t square. Now we will multiply and divide by r square to make sure that we reach to the Kepler's third law. And as you can see in the next formula, F is equal to 4 m pi square by r square into r cube by t square. As you can see, as you can notice it's the just inverse of the Kepler's third law. So in Kepler's law, t square by r cube is equal to k, basically constant. So we will substitute that value. But as you can see, 4 the mass of the planet and pi square, and the k, which is already constant. We already know all the values for that. So we'll take this whole term as a constant, and we are left with f, which is directly proportional, so inversely proportional to the r square. Okay, now Earth's gravitational force. Okay, so just imagine if we throw a stone vertically upward, will it remain constant, or the velocity of that stone will change with the time? How it will change? Why that stone should not move upwards only? Why does it fall after reaching certain height? And what basically on what basis the maximum height of that thrown stone will depend on? Since see, Earth will attract every other object itself due to the gravitational force, and center of mass of Earth is situated at its center. So every object will direct it toward the center of the Earth. Now, if we threw a stone up, this force will try to pull it down and reduce its velocity. Due to constant pull, the velocity of that stone will become zero after a point, and then stone will start moving vertically downward. So for this, we have to study Earth's gravitational acceleration. Since Earth will exert gravitational force on an object, and according to Newton's second law of motion, force acting on a body will result into acceleration. So the gravitational force will result in an acceleration. So this will be called as acceleration due to gravity, and it is denoted by small g. So value of g will try to find out what is it on Earth. So our formula is F is equal to g m1 m2. The capital M is the Earth's mass upon r square. As we know from the Newton's second law of motion, F is equal to ma. But in this case, we are considering the acceleration due to gravity, so it will be F is equal to mg. So mg, we will substitute this value. It will become mg is equal to g mm upon r square. The small m from the both side will get cancelled. Now we are remaining with g, m, and r square. We know all these values. Mass and radius of Earth are 6 into 10 raised to 24 kg is mass, and 6.4 into 10 raised to 6 meter is radius. So we will substitute all these values, and we will get the value 9.77 meter per second square. So by looking at this, we are getting that the acceleration due to gravity will depend upon the mass and radius of Earth. And so the acceleration due to gravity at a given point is same for all objects. Now, there is some variation in value of acceleration due to gravity. When there will be change along the surface of Earth, the value of g will not be same everywhere on the Earth. It is the reason behind this is because the shape of Earth is not exactly spherical. Due to rotation, Earth bulges at equator and it's flatter on the poles. So radius is largest at equator and smaller at the equators. So value of G is highest at poles. It is 9.832 and it will decrease to equator. It will become 9.78. Um, the second point is change in height. So as we go above the Earth's surface, the value of R in G is equal to Gm upon R square will increase and G will decrease. Simple, basic mathematics. Since the decrease is in very small, it's very small change in the height as compared to the Earth's radius. So there will be very slight change or no change. But below is the table. You can check all these values. Like at Mount Everest, the height is 8.8 kilometer. Till that point, the value of G is not affected. Okay. Beyond that, as you can see, maximum height reached by man-made balloon is 36.6. Then value of G will start decreasing. It's 9.77. The part of Earth which is contributing to the Earth's gravitational force is also decreasing. So because as a combined result of this change of R and M both, the value of G will decrease as we go deep inside the Earth. Let's clear the concept of mass and weight. One should think that they both are same, but it's not. Mass is amount of matter which is present in object, but weight is weight of an object. It is defined as a force by which Earth will attract that object. Mass is a scalar quantity and weight is vector quantity. Unit of mass is kg, weight is Newton. Now mass will remain same everywhere. On another planet also it will be same. It won't change. But for weight, as I told, it is kind of force only. So it will include gravitational acceleration. So value of G is not same everywhere. So weight of an object will change from place to place. So your weight at equator and at the poles will be different because of change in value of G. Okay. Now free fall. Whenever an object will move under the influence of gravity alone, it is said to be falling freely. But in free fall, initial velocity of object is zero, then it will go increasing due to the acceleration due to gravity of Earth. And during free fall, there is some frictional force which will oppose the motion of object. It is called a buoyancy force, or you can say frictional force. So the true free fall is only possible in vacuum. So for a freely falling object, velocity on reaching to the Earth and time taken to reach the Earth can be calculated by Newton's law of motion. And as we know, initial velocity is zero, and acceleration is substituted to acceleration due to gravity. So all equations will become v is equal to gt, s is equal to half gt square, v square is equal to 2gs. Now calculating motion of object thrown up, the acceleration is taken negative. It is taken minus g. The magnitude of g will be same, but since velocity is decreasing because of the negative acceleration. Again, the moon and the artificial satellites are moving only under the influence of gravitational field of Earth, so they are in the free fall. Gravitational potential energy. As you know, the energy stored in object due to its position or state is potential energy. This energy is relative and increase as if we go to the greater heights. So we assume that potential energy of an object which having mass m and height h from ground is mgh and on ground is 0. See, obviously because the height h factor will be 0, so it will be 0. But when h is small compared to the radius of Earth, we can assume the g to be constant and we can use the above formula only. For larger values of h, value of g will decrease. Uh, for the object at infinite distance from Earth, value of g is 0. And Earth, a gravitational force obviously will not act there, so potential energy will be 0. So for smaller heights, the potential energy is negative. When object is at height h from the surface, its potential energy is minus g mm upon r plus h. Now escape velocity. As we discussed before, when a ball is thrown up, velocity of that ball will decrease due to gravitation of Earth. the velocity will become zero after reaching a certain height, and then ball will fall down. And this maximum height will depend on the initial velocity only. So according to Newton's third law, v square is equal to u square plus 2s. V is the final velocity, which is final velocity is obviously 0, and a is equal to minus g since the negative acceleration. So equation will become 0 is equal to u square plus 2 in bracket minus g into s. So maximum height, the s, will be minus u square by 2g. From this we can understand that higher the initial velocity, larger will be the height reached by ball. Now we have seen that g will keep decreasing as we go above, or go higher from above the surface of the earth. So the force pulling the ball downward, it will also decrease as the ball is trying to reach the upper and upper heights. If you can keep increasing the initial velocity of ball, it will reach the larger and larger heights. And above particular value of initial velocity, it will reach larger heights. And above particular value of initial velocity, the ball is able to overcome the downward pull, and it can escape from the earth forever and will not back. This velocity is called as escape velocity. An object which is going vertically upward from the surface of earth and having initial velocity equal to escape velocity will escape the gravitational force of earth. Escape velocity of earth. We'll try to find out what is exactly the escape velocity on earth. So from principle of conservation of energy, E1 is equal to E2. So E1 is the energy which we are giving, and E2 is obviously the Earth opposition energy, which Earth will try to oppose. So E1 is half mv square. Okay, now VESC, whatever I have written is over here, is escape velocity. So don't confuse with that. So half mv square minus gmm upon r. V escape square is equal to 2gm upon r. This is the term which I am left with after solving this. Okay. So V escape, the another side term will go under the square root. It is 2gm by r. We know the values of gm by r, but still what we will do is we'll substitute the uh, gravitational acceleration due to gravity value. As we know that g, small g is equal to capital G m upon r square. I will substitute the same value over here. Um, there is one mistake over here. The formula is typed two times. It will become under root 2gr. We will put all the values since we know 2, it's always the constant. G is 9.8 and the radius of the earth 6.4 into 10 raised to 6. After solving this, we will come to value 11.2 kilometer per second. So, thus the spacecraft which are sent to space are supposed to have the initial velocity to be more than the escape velocity so that they can overcome the Earth's gravitational attraction. So, whatever the spacecrafts or satellites we are launching, it has escape velocity which basically it has initial velocity which is greater than this value. Okay, thank you.